again, and thank you for joining us for Confessions and Convictions as we continue the story of R.G. LeTourneau, Chapter 2 of 10, as promised, from Moody Bible Institute, Stories of Great Christians. Let's get to it. Hold on just a moment. We can get it for you.
Stories of Great Christians. From the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, we bring you Chapter 2 of Mover of Men and Mountains, the story of Robert Gilmore LeTourneau. Yep, I was a restless kid, all right, and I gave my parents fits. I remember my mother saying,
"Bobby, if you'll sit down in that chair and keep still for 5 minutes, I'll give you 5 cents.
Which sounded like a pretty fair deal, and after 5 minutes, I said,
"I'll sit still for 5 minutes more for another nickel."
We moved from Duluth, Minnesota to Portland, Oregon in 1902. I was 14. Harold, my oldest brother, was 19 and stayed on to attend the University of Minnesota. We moved mostly on account of Mr. Walker, one of the Plymouth Brethren my dad had known, who had moved earlier to the Pacific Northwest, sent back glowing accounts of fortunes to be made in the construction business. My father and I had made our peace, more or less.
Well, Bob, school starts next Monday. They made our move in time for all you kids to enroll here in Portland.
I ain't a-going.
What?
I ain't a-going back to school.
You're not?
I'm not going back to school.
Why? You haven't finished the 8th grade.
I'm a man growed, Pop, that's why.
You're a man grown.
Yes, sir.
You're only 14 years old.
And I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh 160 pounds. I reckon it's time I went to work.
Well, we don't have to decide everything tonight. Let's pray about it and sleep on it.
Knowing that my folks were praying for me didn't really make me feel all that comfortable. Next Sunday, I noticed my dad talking to Mr. Hill after church. Mr. Hill was an Englishman, and he owned a foundry in Portland. Normally, my dad didn't discuss business on Sunday, but the way things turned out, I guess there was just a little bit of a Sabbath negotiation.
Come on, Bob. Time to get up.
What? It can't be. It's dark outside. What time is it?
5:30.
5:30?
Come on now. As long as you're a grown man, you have to be to work at 6:30. Surely you don't want to be late on your first day.
What are you talking about, Dad?
I got breakfast started. Now get moving. Well, you're going to learn the iron business with Mr. Hill. You'll be an apprentice molder.
An apprentice? Molder?
Hmm? Mr. Hill's been having some trouble out at his ironworks. What with his apprentices complaining about all that hard work and quitting before noon, I told him he wouldn't have that kind of trouble with you, seeing you're a man grown.
I didn't know what an iron molder was, but that little dig from my dad sure motivated me to get going and keep going. It was no playground I was going to. I owned my own steel mill, and I still find something mighty impressive about molten metal. I've already mentioned that Mr. Hill was British.
But I, Robert.
Also, he was a gentleman. Here's how you could tell. He wore a beard, you see, a long beard. And although no one would have known it, he always wore a shirt and tie.
Well, Robert, here's a job we have for you. As they say, it's a job for a strong back and a weak mind. A little bit of a joke there. Well, at any rate, there's a gondola full of sand out in the yard. Just shovel the sand into the wheelbarrow and bring it in here. Joe will show you where to dump it.
I hadn't wheeled 10 wheelbarrows of that stuff that had soaked up about 2 weeks of Portland's rain before I was hunting for an easier way of moving dirt. Furthermore, I'd achieved an enormous respect for 1 cubic yard of sand.
Joe, I've hauled 10 loads, and there's not even a dent in that carload of sand.
Bob, you're always complaining.
I am not. I work hard.
You got the easiest job in the foundry.
Just how do you figure that?
Now look, pushing is a rest from shoveling, shoveling is a rest from pushing. And then there's the trip back with an empty barrel where you don't do anything at all. Why, kid, you got yourself a job that's just one long rest.
A humorous man, that Joe, and strong, too, like most foundrymen. Yeah, my lessons continue. Mixing sand, clay, and water for a mold.
I don't want you to work too hard, son.
Yes, Mr. Hill?
I just want you to work fast.
One day, I put too much water in the sand. And the pour exploded all the way to the roof of the foundry.
Now look what you did, LeTourneau!
Well, that isn't exactly what he said. I've had my ears pinned back with words that leave me grateful I have any ears left. Eventually, I got to spend some time in the machine shop. An old German craftsman talked me into building a miniature steam engine, or trying to build one.
You've worked with brass, copper, nickel. You've worked with gray iron, white iron, and steel. You make something. And when it is finished, you know how to work metal. And you know how to work steam engines. Joe, now I see you a minute.
Yes, Mr. Hill? What is it?
Is the LeTourneau boy working out well?
Oh, he's a good worker, and he spends most of his lunch hours with Fritz in the machine shop on his own time.
I'm not sure I like some of the people he's running around with.
They're just boys, sir. We do have a few wild apprentices.
Oh, there's special responsibility for him. I want to pass the word around. I don't want any man offering the other side of his bucket of suds to that 15-year-old.
Yes, sir.
Any man who does that is asking for trouble. Probably dismissal.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
I guess in that sense I did have a sheltered life. But Mr. Hill couldn't protect me all the time. I was curious and adventurous. And I spent more time than I should have with my buddies, watching the tough lumberjacks celebrate along our skid row. Incidentally, that's an old lumbering term. We had a skid road in Portland, over which logs were skidded or dragged by horses or oxen and pushed into the Willamette River. But eventually, booze transformed Skid Road to Skid Row. Compliments of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, I'm coming. Yes, officer. What is it?
You're Bob LeTourneau?
Yes?
We're looking for Wally.
Wally?
You know who we mean. You're a friend of his.
We've gone to ball games together, that's all.
Where can we find him, Bob?
I don't know. He wasn't at work today.
We know.
What do you want him for?
Assault and battery. If you remember anything, let us know.
I will. Yes, sir. Dad?
Hello, Bob.
You heard?
Yes. Bob, I won't lecture you, but I think you have a lot to think about. I just hope your mother hasn't been awakened by all this commotion.
I did have a lot to think about. I decided to attend some revival meetings. It was just before Christmas in 1904. I attended all week. Nothing happened. In fact, I begrudged the time I was spending away from that miniature steam engine I was still trying to build. I said as much to my mother when she asked me if I was enjoying the meetings. I had the good sense to realize I really hurt her with my callous answer. That night, I went to my room and I just poured out my heart to God. I gave myself a working over. No bolt of lightning hit me. I just prayed that God would save me. Then I was aware of another presence. No words were spoken. I received no messages, but my bitterness was gone, drained away. You see, before I was saved, I was churched and Bibleized, but I'd never experienced salvation. I had to tell my folks.
Hey, it's happened. I'm saved. You don't have to worry about me anymore.
Oh, Robert, we knew it had to happen 2 years ago when we discovered we couldn't guide you.
When you said you were a man grown.
We knew God would guide you. We left it in His hands ever since, praying every night that He would help you. Oh, but Robert, He sure kept us waiting a long time.
I joined the church, the Young People Missionary Society, and the choir. I'm not sure why I joined the choir, and I'm also sure that feeling was shared by others. And I kept working on my steam engine. Fritz thought I would never finish it.
Robbie, better a poor steam engine that runs than a good one never finished.
Another bit of good advice. Except that today I'd add a line to it. Better a poor steam engine that works than a good one never finished. Because until the good one is finished, its development can't begin. But that's some philosophy for the future.
Bob, sit down.
Yes, sir.
I got this letter today from Tim Goff. Remember him?
From the church?
Yes. He moved to San Francisco.
Caleb, I'm still not sure you should do this.
Tim heard about Mr. Hill's foundry burning up. He wanted Bob to know that there's work out in San Francisco
There is? Work?
at a foundry.
Oh, Caleb.
Would you let me go, Dad?
Well, you've never been that far from home on your own, Bob.
Your mother's right.
And you hear such terrible things about San Francisco.
But God's on my side, Mother. You don't need to worry.
Perhaps you'll have to learn that it's the other way around. That you want to be sure you are on God's side.
Despite their fears, my parents let me go. San Francisco was a wild place, Barbary Coast and all, but I survived. I met a good Christian family, got a job at the foundry. I even went back to school for a time, attending a vocational school, discovered that I liked it, and I had a nice room at 5th and Mission. It was the year 1906. The day was April 18th, the day of the earthquake. I was asleep when it began, and at the first tremor I thought I was back in Duluth, being shaken awake to deliver the morning papers. With the second shock wave, I was in the middle of it. My bed and my dresser swapped places. I thought, this is the end of the world. Thank God I'm saved and going to heaven. Then there was a weird, strange stillness. Not total silence, because buildings were still twisting and falling. But the earth had stopped moving. The floor of my room was tilted. When I looked out my window, I saw my building and the building which had stood across the alley now leaning against each other. I thanked God for sparing my life and began packing my canvas bag. I wanted to find my friends, and I had the good sense to know that I wouldn't be using that room that night. It was time to move. I climbed onto the street from what had been my second-story window. The fire wagons flew past, and then the wagons filled with bodies, searching for hospitals which no longer stood. And of course the foundry where I had worked was a total loss. I keep a motto on my desk today that says, Jesus never fails. I faced several crises in my life, and I found that little motto to be absolutely true. It was true for me back in San Francisco, true for my friends also, even though we were without homes and jobs. Jesus never fails. So trust the Lord and do your best. And so we conclude Chapter 2 of Mover of Men and Mountains, the story of R.G. LeTourneau. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, produced by the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
conclusion of chapter 2. And join us Saturday next week, where we, Lord willing, will have chapter 3, and then chapter 4 on the weekend. Till then, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May you grow in grace. May you share the gospel. And may you walk the Christian walk. Follow Christ. Till next time, God bless.